In the stillness of the night, the world can change in an instant. Cities lose power, stock markets crumble, government secrets are exposed, and critical infrastructure goes down, all without a single shot fired. This is the new battlefield, a war waged in the shadows, one where information is both the weapon and the target. Welcome to the new Cold War, cyber warfare, a war where no country is truly safe and no system is immune to attack. Governments, corporations, and individuals are all potential targets, but they have one thing in common: they rely on digital infrastructure. And when that infrastructure is compromised, chaos follows. Imagine this: a single line of code invisible to the naked eye, inserted into a seemingly harmless email or software update. In mere minutes, it spreads like wildfire, unlocking doors to government files, financial systems, and energy grids. This is the silent weapon of the 21st century: malware. From power outages that paralyze entire nations to ransomware attacks that cripple hospitals, cyber warfare is the invisible enemy that can strike at any moment, anywhere. But what happens when the enemy is also invisible? How do you fight a war without ever seeing your opponent? If you told me that world powers like the United States, Russia, and China are locked in a fierce digital arms race, it would be both alarming and plausible. In this new battleground, nations are competing for supremacy in cyber warfare, surveillance, and information control. While they may never engage in direct combat, the consequences of these digital clashes are profound, affecting everything from national security to the global economy. The weapons are invisible: malware, ransomware, and disinformation, but their impact is already being felt worldwide. This quiet yet intense conflict is reshaping geopolitics in ways we are just beginning to understand. In 2007, Estonia became the first country to face a full-scale cyber attack, as its government, financial institutions, and media were targeted and brought down by a relentless wave of malicious bots. This unprecedented digital assault marked the world's first large-scale cyber attack, sending shockwaves through governments, businesses, and security agencies worldwide. The event highlighted the vulnerabilities of a hyper-connected world and the growing risks of cyber warfare. But what no one anticipated was that this attack was only a precursor to a far more complex and dangerous digital battlefield. As cyber threats evolved, the stakes for global security would rise dramatically, reshaping how nations defend themselves in the 21st century. Fast forward to 2017, when the WannaCry ransomware attack erupted, infecting over 200,000 computers across 150 countries in a matter of days. Entire hospitals in the UK were brought to a standstill, forced to cancel surgeries and disrupt critical healthcare services. The global economic damage ran into the billions, yet the identity of those behind the attack remains shrouded in mystery, underscoring the anonymity of digital warfare. This was a ruthless display of cyber sabotage, an attack that didn't ask for permission, didn't negotiate, and had no regard for the human cost. In the evolving landscape of cybersecurity threats, it marked a stark reminder of just how vulnerable the world had become to attacks that could strike anywhere, at any time, with devastating consequences. If the attacks are more than just opportunistic crimes, and instead are orchestrated operations with state backing, it changes the entire landscape of cybersecurity. These attacks could be highly calculated, designed not just for financial gain, but to sow distrust, manipulate public opinion, and destabilize national economies. The sophistication of such operations could blur the lines between cybercriminals and government-backed hackers, making it difficult to attribute attacks and hold perpetrators accountable. With advanced tactics and extensive resources, state-sponsored cyber activities can have long-term, far-reaching impacts on global security. As the threat evolves, traditional defenses may be insufficient, requiring a more unified and proactive approach from nations and private entities alike. The truth is, we don't always know where the attacks are coming from. Hackers work in the shadows and nations play the same game. The attackers could be anyone: a lone wolf in a basement, a rogue group backed by a foreign government, or a well-funded cyber warfare unit working under the cover of national security. Governments around the world are increasingly aware of the existential threat posed by cyber warfare. The U.S. has established its own Cyber Command, a powerful military branch not only tasked with defending against cyber threats, but also with launching proactive counterattacks against adversaries. Similarly, nations like Russia, China, and Iran have heavily invested in building robust cyber capabilities, seeing the digital domain as a critical battlefield. These state-sponsored cyber forces have developed advanced tools and strategies capable of crippling critical infrastructure, disrupting economies, and undermining national security, all without the need for traditional military conflict. As these digital arsenals grow in sophistication, the risk of cyber attacks evolving into full-scale cyber warfare becomes increasingly likely, reshaping the global security landscape. When a nation chooses to retaliate in the realm of cyber warfare, the challenges are immense, primarily due to the lack of clear rules of engagement. Cyber attacks are often masked by layers of encryption, obfuscating the true identity of the attacker and making attribution difficult, if not impossible. This anonymity allows aggressors to strike from anywhere in the world, complicating efforts to determine the source of the threat. As a result, retaliating against a cyber attack becomes a perilous and uncertain task, with the risk of escalating conflict based on flawed or incomplete intelligence, or even punishing the wrong party entirely. Take the 2016 U.S. election. Russian hackers infiltrated the Democratic National Committee, stole sensitive emails, and exposed them to the public in an effort to influence the election outcome. The line between cybercrime and warfare is thin. The stakes? Democracy itself. Corporations, too, have become prime targets in the escalating world of cyber warfare, often caught in the crosshairs of both espionage and sabotage. One of the most high-profile incidents was the 2020 SolarWinds hack, a digital breach so sophisticated it compromised thousands of businesses and government agencies worldwide, going unnoticed for months. While the breach initially appeared to be cyber theft, the scale, precision, and hidden nature of the attack raised questions about whether it was a calculated act of digital sabotage designed to undermine trust in critical systems. The hack served as a stark reminder that in today's interconnected world, the line between economic espionage and cyber warfare is dangerously thin. In 2009, Ukraine experienced the world's first known cyber attack on a power grid. A targeted attack took down power to over 230,000 people, triggering a crisis. This was no accident. This was digital sabotage aimed at undermining an entire nation's infrastructure. It was a new kind of warfare, an unseen enemy working silently from within. Now imagine a scenario even more catastrophic. What if hackers gain access to the stock market's core trading systems? In 2018, a cyber attack on a major U.S. financial institution led to a massive disruption in the stock market. The real danger is clear. With enough power, cyber attackers could crash the global economy. And this is where things get dangerous. In this new Cold War, the enemy doesn't have to worry about borders. Digital borders don't exist. Anyone, anywhere, with the right knowledge and tools can become a player in this global conflict. And sometimes the people pulling the strings aren't even state actors. They're shadowy groups operating on the fringes of the law. Thanks for watching.